Also, I swear I filmed this video, like, this is my 10th time filming this video, and this has to be it. Like, this has got to be the one I post because I am getting tired. Here is my classics edition. Okay, oh, if I'm getting really hungry, I should eat lunch soon. But anyways, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yoon, and in this video, which is straight up filming right after my freak out tag video, I will be showing my classics edition and also what to expect from, wait, that's not right. I will be showing my classics collection and showing what to expect from the different editions that I got. I have 10 classics and I have, I think, 4 editions from those 10 classics. 4 of them are the same edition, and then the rest are each edition by like 2 books per edition. And yeah, also I swear I filmed this video, like, this is my 10th time filming this video, and this has to be it. Like, this has got to be the one I post because I am getting tired of having to refilm this video. Like, how hard can it be? But anyways, let's get back on track. So first of all, I have the Austen series of the vintage classics. I have Northanger Abbey and I have Mansfield Park. These ones, I do have favorites of the editions. These ones are my least favorite, but I will still tell you what to expect and if you do want this edition or not. So let's go. We'll just use the thinner one because it's layered hold. First of all, this is the style of cover art they do. It's just mainly a pattern, and then it has French flaps, and then the inside is a different pattern that is normally the cover pattern of another Austen novel. This one I don't remember. I think the one for this one is Emma, I want to say, but so I think the inside pattern for here is the cover pattern for Emma. This one I'm not really sure, but this is it. These books are definitely the shortest out of all my editions, so it makes them a bit chunkier to fit it in. Because, like, if you, like, look how thick Mansfield Park is, and I'm pretty sure the penguin, one of the penguin one is, like, it's not this thick. So it's a real chunky book to, like, make it shorter. So it is heavier. This one is more portable, this one is not. The pages, this one does have, these editions do have an introduction. I personally have yet to figure out the importance of classics introductions, but if you happen to know, feel free to let me down below. But yeah, these have introductions. I don't really know if the person who makes them is important or not. And yeah, the paper it feels kind of thick, like a thick thinness in a way. But definitely I think it'll be okay to annotate. I think there might be a little bit of bleed through, or at least a shadowing thing, but it won't be that bad, and it's probably not gonna be that big of a deal. The font size is a really nice size. It's really easy to read. It's slightly big, and unfortunately though, there's not a lot of side margin space to annotate on the side. So I think depending on what you are going to annotate, if you will annotate, you might have to resort to sticky notes a lot to write more. But other than that, the thing also is that they're not floppy. They're floppy here, but they're pretty stiff on the spine. And I personally don't really like to crack my spines. Like, I like to avoid that for as long as I can so my books can last longer. And yeah, it does fold a little bit even with you stretching out the spine like I did. This one still gets me a little worried because it's still gonna I feel like it's still going to crack the spine even though I did stretch it out. But yeah, I think reading it on its own would be really nice to do because, like I said, nice big font for the size. It is chunkier, but it's more portable in terms of height. So yeah, this one also has an introduction, by the way. This is the Vintage Classics Austen series. I feel like if you're okay with, like, the format of these books, you should definitely get the Russian Classics one because those patterns are so pretty. Like, I personally don't like the format, but the pattern for those editions are so pretty. I want to get at least maybe one of them. But yeah. And then for the next edition, I want to say, I think I'll order this in terms of, like, my least favorite to my most favorite. So my second edition is the Penguin English Library Edition collection series. And this one is very pretty, like cover art wise. This is definitely my second favorite in terms of cover art. Let's look at this Pride and Prejudice one. Oops. This one by Picture of Dorian Gray. Oh, I do want to say for these, the price range, I can't tell you if it's worth price wise, because in Korea the price did differ between the two. Like Mansfield Park was on a sale for 9,000-ish won, which is like $8, $7 to $8. And then this one was not on sale, and it was either 12,000 or 14,000 won, which is still, I think, at the end more than $10. So price range, do what you want, like think what you can with what I've given you. I don't know if it's the same prices over there in the States or UK or whatever country you may be watching this from, but in Korea, those are the prices. So for me personally, these were not really worth it, because the print is pretty, but I probably could have spent less money on a more casual or just a more plain edition, and I would have been fine with that. So yeah, and then these two, back to the Penguin English Library, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen and The Picture of Dorian Gray. Okay, what did I say? So first of all, super floppy. I really like it. Stays, oh, it bends a little bit, but yeah. What else to say about this? What to expect from the Penguin English Library is a really pretty cover, a nice spine that is like consistent enough that it would be pretty to just have the like a shelf to this kind of spine. Very floppy paperback, you can expect it. The spine isn't as stiff as I would like. It's really nice and stiff on the Picture of Dorian Gray one, like it lies nice and flat. But on the Pride and Prejudice one, it does bend a little bit the more you get to the center. So this one also high risk of cracking, so maybe stretch it out if you want to avoid it. What else to expect? This one, does this come with it? This one, okay, so these, I don't think these two come with introduction to the story. They have something extra at the end of the books, but it's like, this is like an introduction to the some sort of edition series. This one has something to Austen herself, but these don't have introductions. So if you want one with an introduction, probably don't get these. Super floppy, like I said. The page, the font size I think is okay. Like for me, my mind is like saying this is definitely smaller than like this one, but I feel like it's the same size. I don't know, something about it makes it seem like it's small, and I like big fonts because I don't like to squint or just have to strain my eyes to read it. So this gives me the feeling that it's small, but I don't think it is. So there's that weird thing going on for me. The pages are thinner than the other one. They're thinner and it has a lot more bleed through, especially, you know, when you highlight something and you don't move fast enough, so the beginning and the end kind of like leaves behind more ink. Especially those, if that happens, reading the page, the word on the back will be very hard to do. And yeah, so this has more bleed through and more see-through moments, but I think it's pretty okay. The cover art makes up for it in a sense, if it can. Depending on the book, the spine can make up for it. This also, for price range, I can't say again, because again, no matter the fact that it's the same edition, the price did vary by quite a bit. So this one, from what I can remember, was 6,300 won, which is like $5-ish, I want to say. This one was 10,000 something hundred won, which is like around $9, I want to say. So I think if I say it out loud like that, it doesn't seem that big of a range, but there still is a price difference between the two, even within the same edition. So yeah, for me personally, I think this one was more worth it because the spine is really flat. Like the binding type is different, I think, and it's just, for me personally, this is just a prettier cover than this one. But this is, I think, I want to say on the cheaper side. I think it would be fine to annotate it. It probably not hold up as well as other ones. But next edition, this is actually my second favorite in terms of format and what to expect when it comes to annotating, especially, and just reading. But it is the classic Penguin Classics. I don't know if this has a name, but I just say the black edition. And yeah, cover art, thankfully the ones that I did buy are fine enough for me to look at. Like, I don't have complaints about it. But I know some of them I'm just kind of like, oof, I'm not the biggest fan of that cover art. But that's not as important, surprisingly, as the other things in this book. And I want to say, to annotate and just to read this book, chef's kiss, okay? Because both of them lie so nice and flat. It just brings tears to my eyes, okay? You don't understand. And the pages feel thin, but surprisingly, it doesn't bleed through that much. Like, I highlighted and I underlined it, and then when I flipped the page, I was surprised to see that it wasn't really showing up from the other side. So surprisingly, doesn't bleed through that much, doesn't show off that much. But one downside is how small the font size. Like this one, the font sizes here are definitely smaller. Like this one, I can say confidently it is smaller, but I feel like it's still readable. So honestly, these probably shouldn't be a problem. It's readable, and let me show it to here. So there's not a lot of space in between the lines to annotate in between the lines, but there's enough space to annotate like on the outer margins at the very least. But this one also would be hard to annotate in the book, especially if you have a lot to say. But this is what made me tear up when I first found out. Look how you can hold the book. Like, do you know how long it's been since I've been able to hold and read a book like this? Like, so freaking long, okay? Because nowadays books are a little bit heavier, and this one still feels like so light, and it just settles so nicely in my hand that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I teared up for real a little bit when I held this up like this for the first time. Because it's been a while. It's been a while. But yeah, format wise, absolutely love the flat spine. I think that's it. I just really love the flat spine here, okay? And the upside, the pros of these books is that these both are on the cheaper side. So I think they were both the same price, or like very close to each other. One of them was like 6,000 something hundred, 7,000 something hundred, and the other was the same, or like vice versa. So these stay, from both of these, stay within the same price range, and it is both cheaper. They're like, I want to say $6-ish. So these I think are worth it. And also because of like how cheap and stuff like that, you don't feel as pressured or intimidated to annotate. So I think if you do want to venture into annotating, especially a classic, get these editions because you won't feel like as bad if you were to do so. And yeah. And then for the final editions that I have and what to expect from these, and also my favorites, it is the Penguin Deluxe Classics edition. But as you can see, I have 4 of these. These are my absolute favorites, and I'm going to tell you why, plus what to expect, and also like why that made me like it, I guess. So first of all, I have Dracula, Jane Eyre, Frankenstein, and a portrait of the artist as a young. That's what that was called, okay. But yeah, so let's get started. First of all, what to expect is really pretty art. I showed it all just now, but like the art styles or the cover arts for these books are just really pretty. They're really diverse because they get different artists to work on different classics, but still super pretty. Like, you can't really go wrong with them in a way. They come with French flaps, that the French flaps also have art on them. So you can see for Dracula, we have the back, like look at that, so pretty, and then we have French flap, and oh gosh, the wind is just sending hair to my nose. But anyways, and then Jane Eyre, We have a gold foil lamp, which is really what got my attention. And then we have like a Gothic castle, French flap, and the back. And then Frankenstein. This one is actually a really interesting art style because it's in the form of graphic novels, but each side has a different graphic novel art style as well as kind of story. So this one is, I'm assuming, the creation of the monster. So that's one art. And then this French flap is the moment at the end, I want to say, or just the huge discussion between the Frankenstein and the monster. This one's actually a comic about Mary Shelley and how Frankenstein came to be. And then the back is just a conversation Frankenstein has with his friend. But I really enjoyed the art style and the, what's the word, the approach to making the cover art. And then what I personally think is the prettiest out of my deluxe editions is this one. Like, look at that art. And I love how the other three parts of the cover have like a, not a font, a quote on them. So like here we have a quote. Oops, my face. Look at that art. And then here again, look at that. And then the back. But yeah, so you can expect pretty cover arts from these editions. You can expect deckled edges, which is a very cool visual touch, but let me tell you, for annotating, especially if you tab when you annotate, I personally would not really recommend you get deckled edges, okay? Let me tell you why. I don't know if you can see what I'm trying to show you through the camera, but through like your eyes right now, the tabs are kind of hard to see. Not just because of the colors, but because the edges are textured, you also have to, in a sense, texture the way you're tabbing. You can't tab the edge of the page like to make that really nice sleek sticking to the like the little line marks, because if you do so, you will lose some of your tabs, because deckled edges, not all the pages are equally cut. So if you happen to tab a page that's shorter than the rest, you are not going to find it. Like, I guarantee you. I have tried tabbing like that, and then when I closed it and I realized I couldn't find it, I was like, crap, I gotta fix this. But yeah, so deckled edges, cool for visuals, not very cool for annotating. And also flipping through deckled edges is just hard because they kind of texture it in like batches of pages. So like one section of the page is separated from it's just sectioned as well. But the pages and the font size is my favorite part because it's the tallest edition out of all of them, so it's like the longest. So obviously that means bigger font sizes. Like, look at that beauty. And as opposed to the other editions, there's a lot more space on the both sides of the margins, and I think personally even in between the lines. So it's like really comfortable to read, and it's just really nice to read, and it's nice to annotate in the pages because there's enough space to write it and underline and all that. And the pages are thick enough that there's barely any bleed through. Maybe you'll see a little bit, but that's only if you like lift the page to hit the sun, then obviously you're gonna be able to see it. But when you're writing and reading and you just flip it, like, you're not gonna see it at all. So the pages, the font size, definitely my favorite part of the book, my favorite part of the edition, and the battery's running out, so I'm going to switch it super quick. Okay, back with battery, but also yeah. But surprisingly, even though they're the same editions, there are different things to expect within each editions. So these two were drawn by the same artist, and for some reason these two don't have an introduction or like anything extra to the story. It's just a story and that's it. Pretty art, the story, you know, like finish, like point, that's it. Period. That's all you get. These two, on the other hand, come with extra things, like come with extra chapters and pages and information to the book. So these two have introductions. This one, because apparently it's the Centennial edition, it also has a foreword. So it has an introduction and a foreword. And this one has, both of them have further reading on like the book and like extra sources if you're more interested on reading more about Frankenstein or like the themes in here, I think. Both of them have notes at the end, like an index and just extra notes to know about. Both of them also, this one specifically, like if you read the back cover, the back flap, or if you know the story behind Frankenstein, it was basically like the idea was conceived at a camp of some sorts with Mary Shelley, Percy Shelley, Lord Byron, and something Polidori, because they made like a bet or something to like see who could write a competition or something to see who could write a monster story, I think, something like that, like take a monster and rewrite it to fit the current times and expectations, which at this point was like romanticism / gothic. So Mary Shelley picked Frankenstein like for her thingy. And this edition, I almost forgot why I was saying that. This edition comes with 2 other short stories that were written by the other people. So Percy, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think Lord Byron didn't finish his story, and then Polidori did finish it, but it was really short. So they have Byron's story and they have Polidori's story, which I did read for a class, which is the vampire. But I thought that was a really cool touch to like add the other stories that were included within the conception of Frankenstein. They also have appendixes, appendix something, but this obviously has a lot more information, and it just has more background and information, also because Mary Shelley's been changing a lot. Like there's some notes on the original text and some on the newest text, which was like 1838. I'm not sure which edition this one is. I want to say this one is I think this one's the 1818 one. Like this is the 1818 edition, so this is like the most original. Well, this is the original one of the 2, I guess. But yeah, so this comes with a lot more information and a lot more things to know about the book and also the author, or even the background behind the story. And then this one also, it doesn't come with as many things because there's like no short stories by other people connected to it. But like I said, it has further readings, it has introduction, it has notes, it has appendixes or appendices, the plural word of appendix here. And yeah, there's some note on the text, but obviously these 2 provide more information than these 2 for some reason. I really don't know why, but yeah. So that's what you can expect from these editions. The thing is, this is, I think, the cincher or the make or break for most people is the prices of these books. Let me tell you something that got me really annoyed. Okay, let me tell you. Oh, what is that? Oh, I guess I don't need that anymore. Let me tell you something that got me super annoyed. Okay, so in Korea, if you buy online, you do have a discount as opposed to buying it in stores. And sometimes between Aladdin and Kyobo, the prices do differ. Okay, there's nothing I can do about it because I already bought it. But these 2 books I bought in store for 20,000. So that's, I want to say 18 to 19-ish dollars. So this edition is definitely the most expensive. You know, it is called the deluxe edition, but you know, definitely the most expensive of the editions. But I feel, you know what, I'll say this after. So the most expensive, these were 20,000, 18 to $19 maybe. I got so mad when I found out that Aladdin sells these online for 14,000. Okay, like, it's too late. It's happened already. These 2, it was more expensive on Aladdin, so I just bought it for 16,000 on Kyobo. And this was also like 20 something thousand. This also, so the basic range for these two in stores is 20 to 20 something thousand won. This one was the same. This one I managed to get for 14,000 online. This one for 16,000 online. But yeah, so that's like at best, I want to say $13 to $19 price range, which can be expensive, which I think is expensive for a classic. But if you are into the cover art, I do think this is a very worth it price, because for me personally, I care a lot about the pages and like how big the font size is and how much space there is to write in it. Oh, on that note, these are not super floppy. The spine is stiff, so you do have to stretch it out, but if you stretch it out correctly, it'll bend but it won't crack, so that was really nice. But as I was saying, if you like these covers, honestly go for it, because the pages are so nice to read. Okay, like, the pages are just so, they're like a really nice thickness. It's really comfortable to annotate. Like, I don't know, something when I annotated my copy of Dracula, I was like, man, this is so nice. I don't know why, but the page is just nice and thick. The font size is nice and like comfortable and large enough to be comfortable to read. It doesn't really bleed. It barely bleeds through, if at all. Yeah, I would, and it's like the longest book, so it's just, everything is kind of bigger. So honestly, I would just recommend these. If not, I would recommend the black editions. But yeah, if you're willing for the cover art and the pages, I would say invest in these editions. But I do get, like, price can be a deal breaker. That's the word I've been trying to think of. Price can be a deal breaker, and just sometimes the format or the construction of the book just isn't enough to make up for the price. But yeah, personally, I feel like these do make up for it, but that's just my personal opinion. So on the expectation, on like what to expect from each edition, I hope this video was helpful. I might have rambled and just gone off track, but personally for me, I made this video because when I'm looking and buying books, it's harder to buy them here in Korea than like in the States, obviously. Because while the bookstores do have a selection of English books, it's just not as large enough to include the books that I would have liked to buy. And because for some reason Korea wraps the English books in plastic, you can't really look through the book and kind of judge the format and if you want this publisher or that publisher's edition of the book. Or even when it comes to classics, because each classic edition comes with different like construction of the book and expectations, and I have tried looking for it, but I wasn't able to find a lot. So I hope this video is helpful to those who are similar to me and they want to know how the book looks, or like what to expect when reading or annotating the book, or just construction of the paper and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope I showed enough information to help you guys make an informed-ish decision to if you want any of these editions, or if you're gonna just keep exploring for more. But yeah, let me know if you have a favorite classics edition. Obviously, I have to say mine is the deluxe edition for now. But yeah, let me know if you have a favorite edition. Let me know if you don't really care, or let me know what's your deal breaker for buying these classics. And I will hopefully see you later this week or next week. Bye.